everyone, and welcome to this session. This session is entitled Guidewire's Recipe for Engaging in the Digital World, and we are privileged to be joined by two tenured speakers here, the grand poobahs of digital, if you will. We got Mr. John Stalnaker. He is the Director of Digital Practice, and we have Thuru Ramanathan, and he is the Digital Services Director. So these are the two presenters for us today, so welcome, and I'll hand it off to these gentlemen.
Perfect.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Tim. So yeah, as he said, we're in the, there we go. This session is Guidewire's Recipe for Engaging in the Digital World, so if that's not what you were expecting to see, then the door is still frequently opening back there. You guys have seen this, I'm sure, 100 times at this point during this sessions, but this is covered under the Safe Harbor. Any forward-leaning things that we discuss are covered under our Safe Harbor agreement. As he said, we're both your hosts, John and Thiru, so we'll just jump in. So today, let's look at our agenda. We have 4 topics to discuss with you about. So we're going to play on this recipe theme throughout this. So first, we're going to talk about how to choose your dish when it comes to digital and engaging in the digital world. Second, how to collect your ingredients. And third, following the cooking instructions. And last, how to assemble a team of chefs. So, all right, who in here likes to cook? Show of hands. All right. So if you like to cook, then you probably all have some shelf or some cabinet or something that looks like this, full of cookbooks, right? Because that's where you get all these ideas. And when you think about choosing a dish or figuring out what you're going to get in one of these recipe books, you might think about like the flavor profile you're looking for, sweet or savory. You might think about the ethnicity you're looking for, Italian cuisine or Chinese, right? But when it comes to digital, what you decide to cook is probably based off of your business objectives and maybe a little bit of how big your appetite is. So what does that mean, right? So I'm gonna start with a quote. All recipes are a discovery of a curious mind. And I think when it comes to digital, that is very much the case as well. And so the dish we're going to talk about is digital transformation. And I want to put up this definition so that we're all just thinking about this in the same terms. Because I think if I asked all of you what digital transformation meant to you, we'd probably get a different definition. And so digital transformation, the process of leveraging digital technologies to fundamentally change how businesses operate, how they interact with their customers, and how they create value. So I want to just keep that in mind as we go through this presentation. And so when we think about digital transformation, what do we mean? So I'm going to give you an analogy. And since we're talking about cooking and recipes, we're going to take a grocery store as an example. And if we look at this picture, probably none of us are old enough to have shopped in a store like this, but in the 50s, grocery stores were very manual processes. Nothing about this was automated. And so if we were Guidewire at that time and we came to you and you guys were all grocery store owners and we said, hey, we can create a point of sale system instead of a policy administration system, what would you need? How would you want to automate these processes? How would you want to make this easier for your employees? What are your pain points? Well, we would probably hear a lot about automation and integration with your inventory systems, and we would work with you to create a system that would address those pain points, right? And so now you can see a picture of a grocery store that's completely automated, right? The inventory system, completely automated to your point of sale system. So when you scan something, it takes it out of your inventory. You have payment processing right there, all systematically done, right? And then you might say to us, all right, but not all of our customers want to go through this same process. And that we have other experiences that our customers want to have. And so here's an example. You might say, some of our customers don't really want to stand in line. They're fine coming to our location. They're fine collecting their groceries in this way, but they want to be able to handle this process themselves. And so you want to create a self-service experience, okay? And so this is an example of how we might work with you for that to look. Another scenario that you might come through is we want to be digital first. We want to think about like not just how we can automate our existing processes. We want to think of a whole new idea that just is digital. And so in this picture, you see that here's a shopping cart that has a scanner that can scan your products as you shop, go in the cart, you can pay as you go and just walk out. Not that dissimilar if any one of you have ever been to like an Amazon Go store, right? If you ever walk in an Amazon Go store, there's 3 signs. It says, enter with your app, scan as you go, just walk out, right? So maybe you want a digital first experience. Third option, anyone traveled here? Most of you probably went through an airport, and so this would be something that should relate to you, but you might say, look, some of our customers can't come to us, and we want to go to where they are. And so we want to put, here's an example, we want to put a grocery store in an airport because we recognize that anyone that went through with anything over 3 ounces got it thrown away, and you're going to need to get some stuff when you're in that airport. So here's another scenario, right? So we can embed this into an airport. So these 3 experiences, this self-service, this digital first, and this embedded, are hopefully you can see how that ties to the similar scenarios that you guys are coming to us to solve for you on your digital experiences. Okay, I'm going to hand it over to Thiru, who's going to talk through the ingredients that we have that can solution for any of those types of experiences that you're trying to create. Thiru?
Thanks, John. Thank you for setting up the framework of the different types of digital experiences. Yeah, so today I'm going to talk to you about ingredients. And I'm actually going to start with a quote from an Austrian-American celebrity chef. The most important thing for me is to really buy the best ingredient. Yeah, it is the quality of ingredient that shapes an extraordinary dish, right, at the end of the day. And with respect to the digital experiences, it is the right digital solutions that allows you to build the right digital experience for your need. So at Guidewire, considering that each and every one of you here today with a unique interest in an experience that you want to create, as well as thinking about a specific journey that you want to take your users on, what is it that we're providing you with that would enable you to do that particular experience that you want to create, the dish that you want to create? Now, we've got 2 different solutions that are available to you today, right? In fact, JDP that is going to be available to you in Innsbruck. So the 2 digital solutions are EnterpriseEngage and Jutro Digital Platform, which I'll be referring to as JDP or Jutro from time to time. Now, EnterpriseEngage coupled with Jutro Digital Platform is a 2-layered solution where on the one side, you've got these pre-made applications, more like pre-cooked dishes that you could quickly throw into the oven and serve. And the powerful Jutro Digital Platform where you could, basically it is your complete kitchen where you could go and innovate and create your own dish. It's a unique dish that you can serve. So let's dive a little deeper into what these applications are, because these are the ingredients. So you want to make sure you choose the right ingredient for your experience that you want to create. So with respect to EnterpriseEngage applications, these are applications that are purpose-built to provide persona-centric end-to-end web experiences for distinct user personas. Right? We meticulously design these applications to be with the thinking of speed to market. Right? That's what we had in mind, speed to market, because what you wanted at that time was the ability for you to provide self-serve digital experience for your customers. But as time evolved, technology shifted, and the experience that you want to create evolved as well. You found the EnterpriseEngage applications to be somewhat rigid, and you needed more flexibility to create more innovative solutions. And the answer to that was Jutro Digital Platform. As you can see in the name, it is a platform. It is not an application. That's what we need to understand. It is a rich toolkit that you could use to create unique dishes, create unique digital experiences. Now, it comes prepackaged with tools and libraries that handle complex technical aspects. For example, if you want to put some address search facility in your application, or internationalization, or branding and theming, the fundamental things that you need in order to build your digital application is provided in this platform. So that allows your developers to focus on building innovative business functionality than just spending time in trying to understand how to come up with a technology that enables them to build that experience. In addition, the Jutro Digital Platform comes with the Jutro Figma library. This is like a cookbook. And in this cookbook, you're going to find the design items for your UI components and business patterns. With that, imagine the power that it is going to bring to you today is you could build your designers could define the user experiences. They can also build these out as mock-ups and prototypes and have your stakeholders review it, visualize the actual requirements, review it, and then, without worrying about the technical complexities, and then start building it. In addition, there are tools that we have available for you to accelerate your development. For example, it's got native integration with APD, where today you could define your products in APD. You can translate those products into snippets of digital content, as well as the APIs that are needed for your digital application. Now you can quickly create an end-to-end digital experience with the digital content that you generate out of these tools. Now you understand the two different technologies that we have. Let's then ask the question, how do you choose the right ingredients? So with Guidewire, our investments towards digital innovation is directed towards Jutro Digital Platform. So the new features that we're going to build, the cloud-native functionality that we're going to build into the product, they are all going to be built in Jutro Digital Platform. So there will be a question that will be coming to you right now is, oh, we've invested a lot of money into building EnterpriseEngage applications. So what does this mean? Do we need to now re-implement whatever we've implemented in EnterpriseEngage in Jutro to be able to take advantage of the Jutro functionality? Now, Jutro functionality is not a disruptive functionality. It is a complementary functionality. So what it allows you to do is now you could continue to keep your investments, but to take advantage of the new features, all you have to do is to build Jutro micro frontends that can then be embedded into your EnterpriseEngage applications as extensions. Now, there are three ways of doing it, right, with the Jutro applications. Let's look at that. So Jutro application inside your existing EnterpriseEngage application. You can also use Jutro application with another Jutro application. On the same vein, you can use Jutro application in a third-party application. Basically going back to the example that John was sharing in the beginning, where if you want to put a grocery store within a grocery chain that wants to put a store at the airport. So let's dive a little deeper into these and see in the real world how these all going to come together. So extending an EnterpriseEngage application with a Jutro application. In this case, let's just say you have customer engage application that you have meticulously built and it is functioning really well for you. But what you find is in Jasper, there's this fancy account dashboard that you would like to take advantage of. So how would you do this? In your case, what you're going to do is basically keep your customer engage application and then build a new Jutro application that includes the account dashboard, and you embed this into your customer engage application. It's amazing. You've seen some flavors of this during today's keynote as well. The next scenario, embedding a Jutro application in another Jutro application. Why would you ever do that? So let's just say you're building digital experiences for your customer service reps and your brokers. Now, those two experiences, you want them to be distinct. So what's going to happen is you're going to have two different applications. Given that you couldn't have similar experiences, now what you're doing is you're building two different Jutro applications. But what you do is you find that there are common functionalities that you would like to share across those two applications. And that's where you build that common functionality as another Jutro application, and you embed that into your agent experience or your customer service digital experience, because we have a customer service rep Engage, so I just want to make sure that I don't include them there. So in this case, what you see here is the Jutro application being the outer application agent experience, and the embedded application, which is another Jutro application, that is the agent dashboard. Now the third scenario, embedding a Jutro application in a third-party application. Let's just say you would like to partner up with a travel agency and sell travel policies. How would you do that? What you could do is you can work with your travel agency, and in the meantime, you build your travel insurance purchase journey in Jutro application, and you embed that within the travel agency application. So now you understand the power of what is becoming available, how you can extend it. Now, putting it all together, what we at Guidewire are providing you with is a powerful, a set of core systems that are your system of record, policy center, billing center, and claim center. And then there's the system of engagement, whether it is EnterpriseEngage or applications that are built on Jutro Digital Platform. And then the tooling that accelerates your development, as well as a rich set of marketplace content that will give you the acceleration you need to get started in building your experience. With that, I'm going to turn it over to John so that he can take you down the cooking instructions path.
Thanks, Zero. All right. Of course, I'm going to give you another quote. I'm not an amazing cook, but I can follow a recipe. I embody this quote, so that's why I like having this in here. And so ultimately, I think all of us need to realize that a recipe will help, right? And so what does our recipe look like? Well, we call our recipe, or our cooking instructions, experience-led design. It's made up of 5 phases. And this is not, we did not create this methodology from scratch. This exists. Like, this is, in the industry, a known methodology. But this is how we envision this. And so what I want to highlight on this visual is that these 5 phases are all iterative. And the whole process itself is iterative, because as Jane from CNA said yesterday, you have to realize this is not about modernization, it's about evolution. And we realize that as you go through this, you will be doing this as well. And as some of the scenarios that Theo walked through, you will be creating different sets of applications that you will potentially mix and match and replace pieces of functionality to better meet your experience needs. So let's dive into these a little bit. The first phase is called Discover, and this is where, as I said, we need to understand what your business objectives are. And this is where we want to work with all of you to understand what is driving your decision to do a project. And I'm not just saying like, oh, full replacement. What are your pain points? What is driving, what is it that's costing you more to do, or what is it that's making people drop out of your current experiences? All of those types of things we want to dig into just to understand what it is driving this project, and then for us to then know how to address your project and move forward. And so then we have a prepare phase, right? And this is where we kind of gather our ingredients. We make sure you as our customers, you as our partners are all on board, any of the partners that we might be working with on these projects. We make sure that we're aligned with our own internal teams. We make sure that we have a plan in place for how we're going to go into the design phase, right? It's followed by this design phase, right? And so this is where we then agree on like how we're going to deliver this project, right? We go through high-level mock-ups and wireframes. We will come up with a backlog of stories of how we're going to work through this project when we get into the implement phase. And so now, this is also where we're doing some estimation for the rest of that process. And so then we get into implement. Finally, we're ready to cook. And implement is everything that you think of from, the existing development, stabilization, deployment phases. It's all of that, right? But we collaborate as a team to make sure that we stay aligned to those business objectives that we outlined originally, to those user experience objectives, and we deliver what it is that we set out to deliver. And last is this measure phase. None of this is important if we don't measure the results, right? Did we hit what you wanted to hit? Did the business objectives get met? Did your user experience objectives get met? Are we getting the right return on investment? Are your net promoter scores what you expected them to be? If they're not, then we track that, and then we take that into future backlogs, right? Okay. Last piece is assembling a team of chefs. So how do we do that, right? To me, there's no great team without a great chef, and I think that's very much true for how we're going into this, to this process as well. So how do we envision our teams? First off, they must be cross-functional. As we said, when we talked about digital transformation, we talked about working to change business processes, to change how you interact with your customers, and ultimately create value. So obviously, we have to have all of those areas covered in our team. So we have the business team that's there to focus on what your business objectives are, understand what's driving this initiative. We have your UX designers and the design team that's working to understand the users that you're trying to target, what are bringing their needs and the empathy for that user to this, so that we design the system in a way that will hit the targets that you have and have a good experience. And then it's all obviously underpinned by the technical skills. You have to have the technical people in the room to make sure that everything that we're designing and driving out has, driven by functional and technical realities of the systems and all of the third-party systems that might be in play. That cross-functional team working together is what will make this successful. But I'm going to pause. Recipes are by nature derivative and meant to be shared. That is how they improve, they are changed, how new ideas are formed. To stop a recipe in its tracks, to label it secret just seems mean. And the same is true for this recipe, right? That's why we're sharing this with you. And we see that we also need all of your teams to contribute to this, both from our partner community and our customer community. And so I want to outline a couple of education collateral that we have available today that you can use. So we have a UX Design Fundamentals course that is tailored to UX designers that you might have on your teams. And this course goes into working with our Figma library, working with our design system. It goes through real hands-on experience of doing work with these tools and things like the design tokens and our component libraries, all of these types of things. In addition, for your development teams, we have a new set of course for Jutro developers, for Jutro Digital Platform. So if you have developers that have already certified on EnterpriseEngage, we still have those, but in addition now we have a new set of offering for Jutro developers that will go into working with Jutro Digital Platform. All right. A recipe is a story that ends in a good meal. So let's listen to, or I want to touch on a couple of things that we've heard when we've talked to our customers about going through this process and what their experience has been, both in existing Engage projects that worked on an experience-led design approach, as well as some of our EA customers doing Jutro Digital Platform projects. I talked with Caitlin at NICO, and she said, trust the agile process, right? And this I found incredibly insightful. Like, historically, business users are focused on getting full functionality, right? Immediately, we have to have everything. We can't go live without everything. And so she said this is a first project where they've been able to present them with options, measure the results, and then make informed decisions. And measuring the results has led to better decisions down the road. In addition, she said bring in the UX team early. Don't forget the customer's journey. It's easy to get stuck at the component level and screen from screen to screen, but you have to understand that full flow, and that's what user experience teams will do. Also from Grinnell, talked with Daniel and Heidi. They had some really interesting things. I think were also complementary to what we just heard. And they said, break down the silos. Don't approach the project as core versus digital. It's easy to see core as internal and to see digital as external, but cross-functional teams allow you to think through how things affect both systems. And by doing that, it really creates a lot of efficiencies that you otherwise lose if you don't do that up front. Mock-ups become critical, right, to get everyone on the same page and flesh out requirements. Last, they said, don't strive for perfection. Ensure you have the right feedback mechanisms in place to drive user experience priorities to build out a backlog of future enhancements. With that, we're at the Q&A section, so we're here for another 15 minutes or so. Ask any questions you may have. If you would, raise your hand. Tim will bring around a microphone so that we can hear your question. So, any questions?
You were talking about Figma.
Yes.
For you UX design people. What if the insurer has another platform or another thing than Figma?
So you can use, we have many customers that have their own design systems already. They also might have their own design tools they use, Sketch or XD, right? You can do that. There is some work to do some mapping, right? And this is where things like the design tokens that I talked about come into play, right? Where you have to do some mapping so that you can leverage and understand our component libraries, how that maps to your design system. So it introduces a little work, but it's not an inordinate amount of work.
Yeah, if I can add to that. So if you think about it, the library that we're going to provide, this is the Jutro components, the UI components, business components. So when you're actually building your experience, your mockups, for example, what you're doing is you're already using the Jutro components and building it. So what we're doing is we're providing you the library for Figma. But let's just say you've got another tool. In that case, what you need to do is to see how you can import that. So with some tools, you're going to find it okay for you to be able to import it, but not like we do not go and test and certify that translation into a different tool. So it is highly recommended that you consider Figma. It is going to be easier, but as John said, it's just, that's another tool that you're going to create that experience.
It is definitely doable, and we've had customers do it already. Any other questions? In the back, yeah?
So you gave an example of the agent experience and the customer service experience and how you would build that twice and put the Jutro app within the Jutro app. Can you give a little bit more explanation on that and how that works?
Yeah, so let's just say if you've got your customer service reps and you want that, we find that experience to be more or less the same, but let's just say, theoretically speaking, right? Let's just say your customer service experience is going to be different from that of the agent experience. So that means the way you're going to handle underwriting rules, or the way the list of policies you're going to display, or what the information that you're going to display. Let's just say there's different flavors that is going to be required in the two different applications. However, if you find that there's common functionality, right? So now for the different sets of the different unique experiences that you want to create, so you can now create these as two different applications. However, let's just say policy endorsement, right? If you want to create that policy endorsement journey, given that that is the same across your customer service representatives as well as your agents, you could now build that and you could embed that as part of your agent experience that you already built in Jutro, or the customer service rep experience that you built as another application in Jutro.
So it's the power, right, behind the micro micro front-end architecture is that you're building these standalone applications for your different personas, but there will be a lot of overlap in functionality that you don't want to build twice. And so that's the benefit, is you build it once and you use it in both places. Does that make sense? Other questions? This one over here.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about the personas, right? You focused on 4 personas, but there are other personas in insurance companies, like, for example, loss control, premium audit. And information coming out of that unit does get communicated to the agent or the customer. So do you see building user experiences for loss control personnel, premium audit personnel, where they're able to use the data that's in core, schedule a loss control, right? Use the workflow functionality. And basically, now core is, you're able to build new applications using today's world, right? That would be standalone applications, but they're built on this platform.
Absolutely. So as you see more and more personas, that needs to have a digital experience. And this is the power of this platform, where you could build these as separate applications. And the main reason, with EnterpriseEngage, you just had those 4 different personas that you can go and build into the application. With Jutro Digital Platform, it gives you the flexibility to create any digital experiences for any personas that require a digital experience.
You basically just stated one of our use cases that we heard from you that led to us building out Jutro Digital Platform, right? Is that ability to then create an experience for any persona. So we're not trying to build out complete applications for you for every persona that you can imagine. We're giving you the tool set that allows you to do that based off of what you need.
So just to follow up there, so will there be templates for other personas, or these are the 4 personas you're focusing on?
So that would be a good question for product, but so right now what we got is the platform, and then now we're focusing on building templates for the different lines of businesses. So core journeys, claim journeys, and so on. But your specific type of persona, we're not going to have content unless otherwise, eventually, right? If there's so much demand from our customers, we can see that getting onto the roadmap. But that's not something that we have right now.
We have a content roadmap, right, for the digital platform. We are not anticipating or expecting or thinking about replacing the applications that are already built in Engage. We are building out different content that will be used, that you can use to build additional, whatever you want to build, right? And so we will give you examples. It's not that dissimilar to the days when we were doing Policy Center and you had some functionality in a personal auto functionality or flow, and you had different functionality in a homeowner's flow, and you would use those as examples of how you would build whatever scenario you were trying to build, right? Similarly with our content strategy, you will have a lot of content that you'll be able to leverage as examples for building forward what you need to build. But we're not necessarily talking about replicating all of those flows and those full-scale applications to replicate what we had in Engage. So we talk about those 4 personas only because that's the basis of what Engage offered, not because we're carrying that forward into our Jutro Digital Platform paradigm.
All right, if there are no other questions, so that means we must have answered all your questions as we were going through the presentation. That's great. All right.
I have a question for you guys. Show of hands, who is trying to figure out what they want to do with digital? Who is? A lot of you. And so you guys have been here now. We're near the end of the sessions. You've seen Jutro Digital Platform content on the main stage. You've been to several of these sessions to talk through different aspects of our digital platform. Do you guys feel like you have an idea of how to move forward? Yeah? No? Anyone raise a hand at least and maybe give an answer? Behind you, Tim, I think she says. You all look like you're in witness protection to me with these lights, so I can only see. All right, right in front of you, Tim. She was raising her hand, but I don't know what she said. Do you have any? Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. I think it seems like Jutro has really been one of the key themes in this year's Connections, and I think we've gained quite a lot of better understanding compared to how we were before this, and we actually, in our company, had actually planned a Jutro POC already before coming here, and I think we maybe now at this point know a bit better how to proceed, so thanks.
Good. Another question I'll ask. Anyone here that's already have Engage, that's already leveraging Engage? Raise a hand. Anyone already leveraging Engage in the back? So a question for you. Now that you've seen Jutro Digital Platform, any questions or concerns about how we're moving forward? Sorry. So she says she's from Grinnell. Grinnell is one of our customers that we're actually actively working on Jutro Digital Platform with, part of the EA program. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate your attention and participation. If you have any questions, you can find Theo and I around the session or tonight. Feel free to ask us any questions that might come up between now and then. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your Connections. Thanks so much.
Thanks, everyone.